So I wanted to talk a little bit today about acceptance. And this is going to be the first part of a series that I'm doing, the first part of about 10 videos that I'm going to make in this series. And this series is going to be more in depth on the steps that you can take to help you cure yourself of trich, or to at least set you in the right direction. So the first video I'm making is going to be about acceptance. And that's because when we don't accept something, that means that we're holding on to it. So the minute that we can accept something, or the minute that we are willing to accept something, is the minute that things can change for us. For me, I said that I cured myself in 2 months of trich, but really my journey took longer than 2 months. I actually cured myself when I was like 19 years old, and my process actually started much before that. When I was probably like 17 years old is when it started. Because around 16 or 17, I was starting to accept that this is who I was and that maybe it wouldn't change. Maybe this is who I was going to be. It wasn't easy for me to accept this, that this is what I would have to live with for the rest of my life. But I was willing to, accept that trich would be there, and that was okay for me. At the time, I had started making a lot of really close friends, and I was learning a lot about myself, about my attributes, the things that made me who I was, and that made me a good person and a likable person. And I no longer identified with having trich. Like, trich was just another part of me. It wasn't the only thing that I thought about anymore. I think before it was a little bit harder just because I didn't have a lot of friends. I was bullied a lot, as I'm sure many of you are who have trich. I know it's hard for people to understand why you don't have hair or why you pull your hair out. And so that creates a lot of tension in public situations, or with friends or classmates or family and that sort of thing. But once I started having my own friends who cared about more than what I looked like, then I was able to kind of discover myself and kind of appreciate the things, the good qualities about me. And so I was able to accept that trich was there, and that was a part of who I was. So acceptance, I think, is a necessary step that needs to happen if you're going to be able to move forward and to kind of heal this part of yourself. I think that it's necessary to accept because this gives you a sense of relief, a huge sense of relief. Kind of think about a time where maybe you had a fight with somebody and you didn't want to admit that you were wrong. And think of how upset that made you feel, or how frustrated. You couldn't think of anything else. You could only think about how you were right and the other person was wrong. But then you take a step back and you realize, okay, maybe this person has some good points. Maybe I'm not as right as I thought. Okay, then you're able to accept, okay, I'm not right. You're right. I accept that. Think of how relieved you felt after you were able to accept that you were wrong. So I know in that situation, it's hard. It's hard to accept when we're wrong. So it's kind of the same in this situation. It's hard to accept something that we don't necessarily want to accept. We don't want to accept it, but it's necessary to accept this if we're going to be able to move on, if we're going to be able to let go. Okay, this is going to free up so much space emotionally and energetically within you. If you can accept that this is a part of you, then you're going to have so much extra space in your body, in your mind, in your heart for healing. You're going to have a lot of extra space for healing to happen, to be able to happen. When we hold on to something, when we're not able to accept something, especially something like trick, which harnesses a lot of guilt and shame and disgust and a lot of just negativity, these negative things just kind of ruminate. They just kind of fester in your body, these negative emotions. So when we accept something, if we can accept trick, that will allow us to release these negative feelings, the guilt, the shame, the disgust that we feel towards ourselves. We can release that and make room for better things to come in. Okay, so when we're coming from a place of acceptance, those negative things don't have room to thrive, or they don't have a place there anymore. This lets you focus on other aspects of your life, like your friends, your personal life, or your emotional well-being. It creates a more productive space for learning and growing. So when we release these negative things, we have that extra space that we need to learn more about ourselves, to understand ourselves better, and to grow as people, which is going to help us move on to the next phase in our life. I like to think of trichotillomania as like a phase of your life that you were meant to have for some reason. That reason might be unknown to you right now, but I believe that anything that happens in somebody's life, whether it be good or bad, challenging or easy, or amazing or heartbreaking, all of the things that happen in our life happen for a reason. And as soon as we're able to see it from a place of understanding and acceptance, it kind of like flips the table for us. We're able to see things in a new light and learn from that experience. Okay, so that is why I think that accepting trichotillomania is a part of you, that accepting that this is a part of you is necessary. And that's why I think this is one of the first steps that needs to happen if you're going to be able to move past it. Okay, so you might be wondering, all right, so I know that maybe I need to accept that I have trick, but how can I do that? How can I accept that I am bald? Or how can I accept that I don't have eyelashes? How can I accept this when I look around me and I see how everyone else looks, how long this person's hair is, or you know, we compare ourselves to so many people and outside things. So how can I accept that this is me if I see what I want on other people and I don't have it? So there isn't an easy answer for this. The answer comes from within yourself. Okay? It starts with your beliefs. So if you don't believe that you're beautiful, if you don't believe that you are you just the way that you are, then it's going to be really hard. It is going to be challenging to accept. But you have to focus on the things about yourself that you admire, the good qualities about yourself. Like I said before, I was able to accept that this could be a part of me for the rest of my life because I was starting to realize the things about me that I liked. You know, I was funny. I liked making my friends laugh. I was creative and artistic. I could see the potential in my future of the things I wanted to do and the places that I wanted to go and the life that I wanted to have. And I started focusing on those things more, and Trick kind of just took the backstage there. I just didn't focus on it as much anymore. And that was okay. You know, I didn't mind so much about the Trick at that time. Of course, I wasn't happy that I still had it, but I accepted that that it was there. Okay, so it is going to be difficult to accept this. I know that it is. I tried to accept it for many, many years before I was finally able to accept it. So I understand that it's not easy. But one thing that can help you is to at least just tell yourself that you're willing to accept it. You don't have to accept it right away. But as long as you tell yourself that you're willing to accept that this could be a possibility for you, then that will kind of open the door to a different mindset for you. You'll be able to start thinking about accepting this into your life. So some things that you might be able to tell yourself whenever you feel some negative thoughts or feelings coming up about the trichotillomania might be, I am willing to accept that I pull my hair out. I am willing to accept that I don't have the hair that I want right now. I'm willing to accept that this is who I am in this moment. And you'll hear me saying things like right now and in this moment, because it's important to realize that this is not how it has to be, or this is not how it's going to be forever. Okay, as long as you realize this, as long as you can believe this, that this is not who you are, this is not how you are going to look like, or this is not what you're going to look like for the rest of your life, and that this experience is just a part of your journey, okay? But part of your journey is accepting that this is part of your journey. And that's what's going to help you move on to the next part of your journey. Okay. So I hope that this helped some of you out there who are currently going through this. I feel you. So I'm going to be releasing the next videos within the next weeks or so. And just subscribe if you want to be updated for when those are released. Yeah, I'm excited to share some of the things that I have discovered and learned about myself and about this process and about trichotillomania. So I hope that you stick around, and I'll see you again very soon.